First up, the Production Cars Sim Lab Challenge at Laguna Seca. And before the lights went green, cars were going everywhere. They just wouldn't stop. Somehow I survived, only to get tapped in turn 1. Almost taken out at the corkscrew. And tapped off in turn 1 yet again. In fact, all this drama had put me close to being disqualified. Thankfully, I found some drivers who drove carefully, and we had some good battles. Yep, a Mazda driver that's going side by side. And another one. Unfortunately, the rest of the field acted like this. As I carefully tried to make my way to the flag. Then the Production Car Challenge at Road America. Qualified quite well. Up near the front. Again, a few little incidents early on, trying to avoid carnage, little taps in the back. And then I ran a little bit wide and lost 5th. And almost lost control here. Thankfully saw this dive bomb coming, but more spots fell back. And then I ran out a bit more talent here, but thankfully the car behind me was spooked and I kept my position to finish 7th. One thing I did a lot of this week was GD3s at Imola. The first race was looking really good until I got a bit too eager on the throttle. Then I found another purple Porsche who did not want to let me by. And we had a bit of a tap. And another. The next race there was lots of carnage at the start, and my Porsche was getting lots of attention at the rear. Cars were jumping in everywhere, and once again I was scared I was being disqualified. I was desperately trying to get out of this pack, to try and get some clear air and to stop getting tapped in the back. Unfortunately, I ran a little wide there. The spot was retaken. And then, yep, tapped in the back again. And that broke my wheel, so I couldn't actually turn. Race over. So I did another race. And this time the carnage was happening without me. I was a lot further back in the pack though, so that probably helped. But I slowly made my way up. And eventually, with all the carnage, I would get a top 10 result. Dan and I joined forces to do the 40-minute race, and Dan managed to out-qualify me. We had a good battle for a few laps, being very close to each other without any contact. But when Dad made a small mistake, I snuck on by. We were setting competitive lap times on the edge of the top 5. And the cars behind us started making mistakes. Darren pitted for fuel and then had this unfortunate incident. Not that we knew. I pitted a few laps later and was pleased to come out ahead of him. Dan did a longer first stint and came out a little bit behind. I found myself in 5th as all the pit stops finished. But on the last lap, we both lost a position. First Dan here. And then I was a little bit too aggressive. But overall, we were really happy with 6th and 9th. Now let's go to the single seaters, and I made an excellent start at Spa. And continued to make my way up through the field. And just when it looks like I was going to have a good race, mistake and broken tyre. I just didn't account for the shallow angle. Other cars are also having a problem at this corner though. Going too wide through Blanchimont is not a great idea. Finally, I took on the Formula Fords at Imola. And this chicane caused all sorts of dramas. It was full of out of control Formula Fords looking for a target. As the race continued, I started putting cars under pressure and they made mistakes. Then all on my own, I did this. And yep, broken wheel. I didn't give up, I kept on pushing, making my way back up through the field. And when this car went off, it meant I could take 10th place to end the week.